Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Yeah, that's what they say always. Give me a chance. I'll tell you what a chance does. A chance does nothing. A chance is this. They've been hurt too much from their past, so they only give you a chance. What do you think about that? I remember Christina asking me that one night about when we were at my grandma's, when she said, "Oh, what do you mean? What kind of feelings did you get? Bad feelings?" No. From the internet, you know, from stuff like that, getting rid of the computer and stuff like that. No, not bad feelings, one-sided feelings. One-sided. Sometimes it was theirs, sometimes it was mine. Well, actually, no, I don't know if I've ever had somebody else have only one-sided feelings toward me. It's a good question. That's a really good question. Because that pretty much says 20 things, and there you go. And pretty much, you know, I mean, it goes back to emotional manipulation, you know, but seeing like that for a second, it's like, yeah, it was one-sided feelings. It was always me only. You know, I didn't know you felt that way. Oh, okay, good. Sometimes I reveal those feelings, and people told me, "Oh, I didn't know you felt that way," and then that was it, you know, boom. And some of them just stopped talking to me because they didn't like that I felt that way and it was only one-sided. And the way I brought it up was like, well, you bring up things too directly, Marcello. Gotcha. Well, you know, you actually have to have experiences to know how to do that. It doesn't just come from a book or a freaking class or a freaking TV show like Maury or some other bullshit. With an audience. I don't need an audience for my love. Boom. Yes, I'm grandiose, but that's just my personality. If you don't want love, I'd love to be that way if I was in a relationship, then we don't have to. But you have to let me be me. If you don't let me be me, well, then walk out the door right now, and there's like 1,000 other doors, don't worry. You know, well, there's actually 6.7 billion doors, so don't worry, there's a lot of doors. And that's why people tell me you have to search the world. I'm not gonna search the world, dude. I'm gonna search the world? I've never searched myself. I'm just searching myself. I live inside the truth, buddy. When you live inside the truth, you don't need to search anything. Because the only person that you ever change is yourself. That's it. You never make up lies about anybody in the household. Nope. Or anybody you know. You don't waste the time to make up lies on them. You ask questions. Boom. But asking questions does not make you a liar. Actually, it's the opposite effect. You're looking for, seeking for something more. You're looking for, seeking for something more. But within that is the construct of people telling me, just keep your feelings busy, it'll go away. Oh God, can I lengthen this gun and then reverse it and then catapult it to the 1870s when the Civil War was ending? Can I do that? Because I do not want to not enhance my feelings of growth. And here I am. And everybody says, just keep your feelings busy, they'll go away. My feelings are more important than that. Sorry. You may not think they're important than that. You may not think they're important than that. I know my mom thinks they're important. And she says, go through them, because if you don't go through them, nothing happens. Boom, sizzle, losing, bye. And that's why I just destroy everybody upon command, because they tell me all the time, keep your feelings busy, they'll go away. Gotcha. Not gonna happen. But don't worry. I'm not like anybody else where my gun is gonna be shaped towards your back to make you do something. Nope, don't do that. That's why everybody just says, I need somebody who's gonna make me secure. Financially. Well, congratulations. That's what you want in life. You'll win in your own way. But you know, money. This is how I see it with a doctor in mind right now. Just learn to love somebody. That's all you need to do. Don't love somebody, just learn to love them. Big difference. When you actually love somebody, you actually don't care about the money and the resources and all that. That sort of just comes. That's which this letter of enthusiastic love comes from my mom and my grandma. But I will say this, the stampede of emotions has created itself due to the fact I live with my mom more. So I mean, there's also that kind of stampede attack with it, which is more better for me. And I appreciate it with like the thrust of my skull diving through everybody's dive bombs who try to just make it, but they don't take it, you know what I mean? Like they just try to make the relationship, but they don't take the relationship, you know what I mean? They only make the relationship in their mind. They never take it. And they try to make it outside of it with grievous consequences of asking somebody out on a date, but they never try to take it, as with people trying to just completely antagonizing their own lives by, not owning themselves. You already own yourself, and a lot of people don't think they do. You gotta earn yourself, You owned yourself, but you gotta earn yourself, because you have to have something that connects you to things. If you don't, you might as well just go down to Social Security and wait till you're 63. You might as well. Because you have nothing to trajectory towards. But that's up to you. If you don't want emotional manipulation, for example, the only advice I could give you, learn to love somebody. Big difference. Don't actually love somebody, learn to love. Boom. There you go. That's what you have to do. Hey, I don't want that. I'm just giving advice to people who have like two-track doors and two-track minds that just concentrate on the guilty and the innocent while I, unexplode those bookends and say, I don't want the bookends. I want something created better than that. I mean, people tell me how to treat somebody on a date before I go on the date, and then they tell me how to feel after I go on the date. No, thank you. Can we unload the bookends? Can we unload the bookends and let me just experience it rather than having to experience it your way or your way or your way or your way? It's my way of it. Just like it's your way of it to want to experience it if anybody ever experiences it. And if they don't, then their bookends are already collapsing them in their head. And they can't just experience something. They have to have it a certain foreseen way. They have to see the forest from the trees every single time. They have to see the forest from the trees every single time. They can't just experience the forest and the trees together. They have to separate them. I'll tell you two things. The only chest plate that I need is to look back at how the bum was to make my bum rush not equal to his. Throw him into the gutter before he even stampeded away. But, there's the problem. There's your problem. Is that nobody actually believes it because you haven't experienced it yet. So that's why you throw it in my face as if, well, how do I know you're not going to be like that, Marcello? Well, you don't. But you have no proof to utterly sodomize me before it happens. But it's okay, you could just castrate me on the way down and then we'll see about that. As such, Castration Island, better than Survivor. Last person doesn't get his thing cut off. There you go, that's the winner. But it's just, you offer me a chance. What kind of chance are you offering me? When I looked back at it, unload the bookends. Unload the bookends. Because that's what really destroyed our relationship. You bookended it before we met. Before we met, you bookended it. You took apart the relationship before we met, during the initial experiences, and after it ended. That's why it didn't last. It wasn't because we didn't have anything filling us together with feelings. It was that you had to bookend it before we met, after we ended, and that was it. And there was nothing else in between that mattered. Because what mattered was it had to go in the sanctuary key, just like an eternal cemetery. The value of eternal cemeteries that are just everywhere constantly. Because the one thing you can't experience is something just with feelings intact. Rather, you have to experience it with feelings intact and the worship that comes along with it. And the idea of all these sodomific nightscapes that never wake you up. I can tell you one thing. That's why I never really got used to the computer or anything. Because I want actual feelings, not just a doorway to feelings. There you go. There you go. And 20 people cannot change that for me. That's what I mean. That's when the door closes. Is when you start realizing that. Can you give me an actual reason why you're my mom? Can you give me a reason why you're my grandma? Can you give me a reason why you're my best friends? Can you? Can you give me something that really counts or no? And no. Can I give you something that really counts? That's the more important question. Can I give you something that really counts? Any of you? That door closed a long time ago sometimes. Because it's not always up to me to decide what I'm going to say and what you're going to say. Actually, it's never up to me what you're going to say. And that's the problem. That's where it closes. That's where you have to leash somebody up and say, well, open up a little more. It's okay, I'll just open up a yellow bird while the sun's rising and say, this is the innards of a yellow bird as the sun rises. Because that's all I'll get. I won't get somebody to open up. I'll just get somebody to, flank their arms and go, I'm going to leave now. Okay, congratulations. And that's your gun. Because seriously, the one thing that I've noticed is that people give me a chance, not an opportunity. And that's the problem. If you only give me a chance, I'm not going to take it. Because that could, turn into something else very quickly. It could break apart like nothing because it's only a chance. Give me an opportunity, I may take it up. But you have to really mean it. There has to be something serious in it, and it can't just be something because of you being hurt in a previous relationship. If you want condolences, go to a funeral. I want something more serious than that. Not to say I can't be that kind of person either. Most people think the only way you can be tender is if you ask every time after you say something, is it okay if I say that? I don't do that. I talk the way I talk here, and then after that, if you want that sort of thing, you have to explain that territory. Because then maybe if you explain the territory, everything kind of shuts down, but still is present. Right? Isn't that the idea? You can't expect me to just know it. Knowledge is not a two-way street sometimes. But knowledge and voice is the key to knowledge. If you don't have a voice, your knowledge is going to die. Your knowledge is going to die. Because your knowledge is never there present if you can't see past your own eyes and say, one time I have to speak up everything. One time. That's where I make you have the plague of your life. Because once you see past all the territory that you've inducted yourself into, the sort of, armed horizon native, you don't really have to consider everything at that point. Because at a certain point, the brink of destruction is, do I really want to be around people who are cynical and intractable on my free time? No, I do not. I have enough of that with having 5 seconds with some people at times who are misanthropic. Don't be emo, right? Well, see, I got an explanation of that, which is hating humanity. Well, that's not emo. Hating humanity and being depressed, you have to explain those and say, don't be depressed. Don't be misanthropic. Don't just say, don't be emo. Because that actually means don't be emotional. Sorry, emotions are beautiful and spontaneous and combustion engines like two trains about to hit each other on the tracks because they went on the wrong one. Well, I tell you one thing. You won't need to worry about that when you have your neighbors, collecting you up. I mean, the one thing that I've noticed is a very key note between your eyes and your passion is that you and me, between all this, have you centered it? Or have you gotten the message of what I said last time, which is if you want to talk, we talk. If not, if not. That's it. There is no bigger in between. And if there is a bigger in between, you just have to call out your neighbors for it. Because the one thing that you're never going to do for me, and this is a promise to any of you out there, and for myself, I will never hook anybody up with somebody. There, I've said it. Or I did in the past. I don't deny, in high school I did it twice. But that was no big deal. It was actually fortunate that all of them knew each other. Technically, they all did. So it wasn't like I introduced them to each other. They already knew each other. So it was like more of a, somehow it just came together where I was like the initiator. Which is kind of funny because I'm usually not an initiator at all. Which is not bad. Initiation and opportunity don't go key and key because you have to have an initiation key to make it. I'm a key. If you try to make me take the initiation with a key, that actually takes away the idea of what a key is. A key is used by somebody. And it's not used in the sense of, oh, I'm being used. No. It's used in the sense of somebody has to actually pick it up and put it in the door. So it isn't like there has to be 20 people doing this or like finagling for the script, if they're going for a movie or something, and that's stupid. No, this has to do with the fact that a key is not an initial victim. It's not an initial victim, it's not an initial hero. It's nothing. The only thing that can make it anything else is somebody else. So, your pedestal making of everybody, which I hate, perfect. Oh God, I never want to be called that. Not because who has said it in the past to me, because there's been many people who said it to me, and I hate it because it proves something. It proves like I have a monkey on my back. Not perfect here. You know, you can call me anything you want. I don't care. But you should know better than to be so admirable of me that you can't accept anything new. That's the problem. Admiration leads to batting practice, which is like, you're interested in that, you're interested in that. It's like somebody's hitting you with a bat constantly because they admire you so much they can't accept anything new that they've not heard of yet. They kind of slip in the door, but they don't, give you candy under, they don't send candy, They kind of get rid of the candy at that point. They're like, I've slipped in the door, now you gotta listen to me. No thank you, bye-bye. You don't need me then. Because that's like getting with somebody that you're constantly gonna bicker with about the job they've chosen, about the life they've chosen. Somebody doesn't need that in their life. You're smarter than that, than to put yourself in that decision where I'm gonna get with somebody, even though I don't like the way they live, like with their job and stuff like that, I'm still gonna get with him. You are? Why waste your time? I mean, yes, I understand the learn to love aspect, but again, that's not a challenge. That's actually, you're challenging a person that feels they have accomplished something and they're doing what they want to do. How do you know they're not doing what they want to do? You hear them complain ever? I never complain. I rant. I rant like a bastard. But I tell you one thing or another and it becomes a nightmare to you. That's the problem. You make me feel bad that I don't feel better. That's what I always would have supposed with the ones I've met before. So your calligraphy and your art, and the way you can say I was adorable, doesn't really crack the theory of what really is now. Just deny it any time you want. But to be honest, if you give up, then anything that you do with me is just going to be a give up anyway. And it'll prove one thing or another. I'm talking about anybody. If you're a best friend of mine and you've given up, you're not going to be a best friend for long, and you probably won't make my life easier to understand why you're my best friend. Because I've heard people say in my past, way before, you're a best friend to me. And then they say, I can't deal with you anymore. I don't know how anybody can deal with you. And it makes me think about it. It makes me think about the fact that I didn't label them that way at first. No, they actually labeled me. So I was, it's just like a momentary loss when it's like, wait a minute, you consider me a best friend? The only person I ever considered a best friend didn't really consider me a best friend. There you go. Which is why, to me, Facebook friends, school friends, they stay in their corners. Most of them. Most of them don't want to come closer than that. Which is fine. Consider your life. Consider your life. And, I don't mind the social networks and all that. That doesn't bother me. So I'm not like, demonstrating any equilibrium towards it. I mean, I'm a person who believes that the idea of those things, I don't use them too much. I just go on, leave, no one really, sometimes I rant with my friend, but that's it. Rant with speeches and messages and voicemail and text and talking. But besides that, you're just looking for an open eye. But, I mean, how much more open eyes can you get? In the sense of, like, not open eyes in the sense of open mind, but open eyes to your subject. How much more can you get from it? Is there, is it really connecting every dot? I mean, literally, if you don't feel like you connected every dot with what you're with, and who you're with, and who your identity stems with, then you're not really connecting the dot together with somebody, and you're not loving them violently, with passion. In that sense, not violence, but loving them violently. Very different. And so, just like an old grandmother, you're crying. Which is fine. I don't judge it. I'm just saying like an old grandmother. And I'd wonder, where's the car wreck? But you never show the car wreck. When you're angry, you actually show how much your fantasy land grows up more. and spreads out bigger. My fantasy land is always here, but it's not a fantasy land. It's a dragons, clouds, volcanoes paradise. And keys are everywhere. Take care, guys. Take care.